Oh, okay. I had no idea we're live. So we don't have an intro video today. So I apologize for zoning out. Everyone, welcome to another week of Lost Resort. This is a live streaming show coming at you every Thursday on Twitch. Today I have my guests Nightwave and Tiger Paw. Sorry, this is just a crazy day. Nightwave is a Glasgow-based DJ and producer who has been running her own label, Heka Tracks, since 2013. Tiger Paw is a Jamaican-born and now New York-based DJ producer. She's also the curator behind Fake Accent, an underground queer club turned record label. Sorry, I just ran. Can we bring our guests on? Okay, there we go. Today's been one of those days. I literally just ran down 3 flights of stairs. I'm super winded. I'm kind of sweaty. How are the both of you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, doing good.
So I just want to thank the both of you for joining us. I'm not sure if anyone watching right now has seen the documentary that we're all in. It's called Underplayed. It focuses on the lack of female presence kind of in the electronic music scene. I'm wondering if my team can actually play the trailer for that right now. Maybe.
We've been missing a voice. And we don't even know what that is.
Wait, is that true? You were in a studio with these other producers and they really didn't listen to your ideas?
Because you're female, and they're like, yes, that is what it's really like.
It can't be because I'm a woman, that's why you're not giving me these opportunities. But then it always proved to be that situation.
Why haven't women done it? Well, they have done it all along, but they've been invisible.
I never had seen a female DJ at the clubs, ever.
Nada. Hardly any women.
Maybe I should have posted more pictures of me in the studio so people know I am actually here doing all the work.
I don't like to talk about it a lot, but there is definitely sexism in the music industry.
It's almost like this hush-hush taboo subject.
So many people doubted me.
Oh, Togi Monster, she didn't even make that. Her boyfriend made it.
Oh, you guys just boost her up because she's a girl.
It's not just shit mix. It's you should kill yourself. And this is the stuff we get.
But I'm a tough girl. And it really just put fuel into the fire.
We're tapping into something that wasn't possible a decade or 2 ago.
Let's just take a second to think about how messed up it is that I'm actually headlining this venue. Damn, that's really insane.
The newer generation is so free of a lot of the shackles that we felt. And that makes me feel like we did make ground.
I would rather be someone's 20th favorite producer than their #1 favorite female producer. I deserve to be in the same category as everyone else.
I'm glad that I didn't listen. I'm glad I didn't give up.
So have either of you actually watched the entire thing yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I was just asked other people hey, here's the password. Can you tell me how it is? I get really weird about seeing myself in things, but what was your takeaway from it? Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, I know it's this whole Zoom interview thing is so confusing because who talks first, but did either of you kind of gain more perspective on what it's like for other people? Because there are so few females in the electronic music scene that you can't even talk to enough of them to know what everyone's going through. It's a really small circle of people, and you don't always have the opportunity to be oh, I went through this. Have you also gone through this? Yeah, anything that surprised you? I'm always learning about how it's different for other people, different kinds of struggles per person.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Tiger Paw, how about that?
I think that it was insightful on a few fronts with different scenes. Like that's how I kind of like deconstructed because I'm not really in the world of EDM, and I know that's a whole different like beast, and I find that like there's intersections in like what we have to like deal with in terms of like the sexism, but yeah, I mean, I feel that like it felt really good to hear the voices of a lot of like some of my peers, like Chippy Nonstop and Shirelle.
Chippy.
Yeah.
She's a wild girl. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love Chippy.
Yeah. What about for you, Maya?
Yeah, the same. I mean, I don't have much experience with the so-called EDM scene, I guess. I supported like bigger male acts kind of more in that genre when I was touring, so a lot of experiences, were quite similar, and wasn't treated very well as a support act for a big male DJ. But yeah, the documentary is really amazing, so I can't wait for people to see it. I think it's really well presented. I was quite apprehensive, when I got approached, because this subject can sometimes just can be approached really badly, or there's like dodgy kind of agenda and brands involved. I mean, you know what it's like, but this was so beautiful, and the director is amazing. Stacey's, just brilliant. So yeah, good.
That's great. I should probably watch it tonight.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or I'll just like watch it and then I'll just like fast forward through the things that involve me. But the general consensus is everyone said it's really well done. Yeah, because I mean, I think just as artists in general, it's like you are presented as being beyond just your music. For me, it's always been music first, identity second. I didn't want people to judge the music based off of my ethnicity, my gender, these things. I thought they were very secondary, that I was an artist and a musician. But, the more I've been in this industry and the older I get, the more I realize how important your identity is as an artist and as a representative to, the cultures that you're a part of. So, I mean, Tyga Paw, I know that you just released an EP and it's an ode to Black trans lives. And obviously you're in New York, so you feel it like how I feel it too. It's there's a lot of tension and it's just rising, and the terrible debate that just happened and all these things. What is your perspective on Black trans lives and how this election maybe is important for you?
Yeah.
I know it's like hard to answer these. It's not meant to be loaded, but just like, in ways that we can also help support, and understand the gravity.
It's like, it's the community that I'm in, like in New York, I've worked to create spaces that are inclusive and safe, or at least closest to safety as we can like possibly manage to curate. But yeah, it's really always a very difficult position to like be in a country that is about freedom and equality, or that's how it's advertised globally. But but when you're here, it's the reality of the situation is there's just like so much more to be done, so much more can be done, and
it's definitely false advertising.
Yeah,
be wary. Don't trust everything that you see. You could get catfished into moving to the States and be like, what? This is not what I signed up for. That being said, this is the EP that you just released. It's the third in the series. So, I mean, at this point, do you feel like there's more at stake? Because the context now is even more heightened.
Right. So with each project that I do, with each EP, it's like representation is important to me. I feel like as I grew, and I always wanted to. The encouragement comes from to know what your capabilities are, or what potentially you can do if it's you see yourself in that position and you see someone that is like reflective of representative of like what you can like connect with. So doing a lot of the times, like my EP, the subjects are like very focused on Black women and that position, and a lot of like kind of like silencing that happens within the dynamics of like Black Caribbean families, but that's not just like only the Caribbean, but like from my perspective, like knowing and living within that world. So just shedding light into what the dynamics of that, and a lot of times like the struggles, and coming to New York and like being really exposed to like the counterculture and subculture of like New York's LGBTQ nightlife is like a blessing, you know. I find
so
that,
fun.
yeah,
It's the best.
I find that I really started living my life when I found that community. So I with the responsibility of like having a platform, I just like, I kind of see where there's this just a lot of like still a lot of violence, and that's targeted towards trans people. So and then it's like there's like not a lot of like conversation happening around within the Black community specifically. So yeah, that's kind of like where I decided to do an ode to Black trans lives, because I just feel like the reach that I could get with it within like the music, because I kind of borrowed from this speech that was given by D.L. Wright. It was a trans man, and it was a TED Talk, and it was just really powerful and empowering, and I wanted to share that in the experience and like in the reach that music can kind of like form these bonds, and you know, it can like expose people who are not really like in search of it, but necessarily like, you know, once we kind of like reach that intersection where we can experiment with these things, you know, like talk like just a speech versus like music, and then adding that formula together. Like I did it very quickly. It's like I did it all in one day, and I didn't really like second guess myself. I just like, but it was the urgency felt that during that time where there was just like a lot of the protests happening, and then it was like my call in using my capabilities to like present something that I feel very strongly about.
100%. I think a lot of times, you know, time does not equate for great art. You know, sometimes the best songs that, you know, we hold dear to us, they could be made in 30 minutes. You never really know. So it's all relative. So it's like the message is really strong. So it actually brings me to this next question. So you both are not from the countries that you're living in. So Maya, I know that you're from Slovenia, and you've been in Glasgow for like ages. And I mean, I remember meeting you like 10 years ago or something, maybe like once or twice, but it was always just also like left field electronic music. It's like a very small like group of people. And it's cool to see, you know, that people are still around. Actually, I had Emma on last week.
You did, yeah.
For sense of time, I think it was last week. But if you say something,
I think so.
Probably true.
I think it was. Yeah.
So she actually played like your music as well, and I was like, oh shit, Maya. I was like, oh, I wonder what she's up to. And you know, I still see you on Twitter and things like that. But it's great to have you here and to see that you're still making music. How do you find the landscape has changed from maybe 10 years ago till now for you specifically? Like, has it been better for you? Has your music career like I mean, I guess it's a very multifaceted question, but how do you think things have changed?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of you mean me as a woman producer,
More just like you as a musician, because not a lot of people have been around for like an entire decade to say like, oh well, a whole 10 years ago, a whole 10 years younger than like, it was easier for me in certain ways and harder for me in certain ways. So maybe like my career was more poppin' 10 years ago than it is now, or all the various ways that it can change as just a musician.
Yeah, I guess I'm really passionate about this. I'm very persistent. This is my life, forever. I'm just never going to go away. But I think it's in many ways better, especially as a woman producer. I think it has changed a lot. There's more visibility. There's, more pressure on getting booked and being taken seriously, and people being a bit nicer to us finally. But it's also in terms of just making music, the market or whatever you want to call it, it's just so saturated, and these pressures on having to use your image and social media, and it's just I find it a big minefield to operate, and sometimes it's really overwhelming. I just feel I have to be so many more things now, not just make the music, but be entertaining. And I'm not. Yeah, I'm way too boomery for TikTok. I don't even know what it is. So
I'm just when I go on TikTok, this is the thing. TikTok is really entertaining, and I like perusing it. But you have to be like really ballsy to be good at TikTok. Like no shame, like go and just like fart in your mom's face. Like that's like TikTok. And I'm like, I just like don't have the balls to like do these things. I felt like it was something that I was good at, or like it just appealed to me. I was more into Vine. Vine was pretty fun for me. That being said, let's play our first song. So you Maya, you picked the song Gold by Emma.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So I know she picked my song, so I picked her song, not because she picked mine, but just because I love her so much. So it's from her new album, Indigo Dreams. And yeah, I think it just really represents her production well and her style. And it's got a lot of emotion and drama, and that's very Emma. Lots going on. It's beautiful.
Her music is super cinematic. That's what I found. So let's play this, Gold by Emma. For everyone in the chat, please leave your comments and questions, and hopefully we'll feature them or get them answered throughout the show. Can you tell me how did you both meet? I mean, she kind of told us a bit, but I'm wondering how you and Emma met. I know she's in London, or she's in the UK.
Yeah, we just internet again, and we just connected because we wanted to join forces just with the workshops we were doing. So she started Produce the Girls, and then I kind of came on board and we developed it a bit more, and we did workshops up here in Scotland. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're just really good friends now.
That's amazing. The power of the internet, you know?
I know.
I remember when it used to be weird to meet people online. Like if you became internet friends, it was like it was still kind of like, ooh, touchy. Like is this person going to be the next Craigslist killer, or are they going to be an amazing musician? Back during like MySpace era, I met one of my frequent collaborators. Her name is Gavin Turg, and she's like amazing. She's from LA. She's a singer, and I found her on MySpace, and so I was like, let's work together. And I was still living at home with my mom, and I remember she came over and she had to call her mom to let her know that she was safe. Because like I was just some like crazy person about to like kidnap her or something. But now those days are kind of different. I feel like it's changed a lot, and it's more. It's not the stigma around that is not the same, and it's crazy to see how that's changed culturally. So let's talk about this song. So this actually came out in 2020. You guys worked on the Producer Girls project together. How is it like sort of building that kind of community? Because I know right now she was saying that everything's kind of on pause. COVID is a little complicated. It kind of exists on Instagram.
Yeah.
What kind of, I guess this can go for both of you. What do you think, like in mentoring other people, what does that do for you? How does that kind of approach to helping other artists? What is the motivation behind it?
Shall I go?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
You want to go, Tiger, Paul?
Oh no, you could go. I didn't think about that one.
I think, well, for me, I started teaching maybe, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. So just, I guess the main thing is wanting to give something back. But also when I started out, I felt like there was nowhere where I could learn, or I guess the word they used a lot is safe space, but it is a safe space, I guess. And a lot of the courses that I did find were all just very male, and I didn't feel comfortable joining. And I thought, I'll feel stupid if I ask stupid questions and things like that. So I think that's changed a lot, but that was like when I started producing was, I don't know, like 12 years ago or something. But we still find that, because when the girls that come to our workshops, they all still feel like that, even now that there's tutorials online they can learn from and stuff, but they all still say like, I don't really want to be, so it just feels good to do that. And also I learned so much about myself and about music making through teaching other people. I've been doing a lot of lessons online during lockdown. And I've learned a lot, or like even the person I'm teaching, they might have something for me that I don't know. So it's just nice to have that relationship.
Yeah, it's this new generation of sharing ideas. If we can share ideas and knowledge with each other, we are able to reap the benefits. Everyone has the same opportunities to learn, and you'll really get the most out of it. The best person will only shine if they have the knowledge given to them, and if it's not shared with them and they have no access to it, then how will we hear? Like the most prolific, amazing, magnificent musician is somewhere existing with none of the tools.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder that sometimes? I always wonder, like, what if it turns out like I'm really good at ice skating? I've never tried, but what if that's a hidden skill? Like you don't know until you try it. Or like it turns out like I'm really good at archery, and you're like, well, I would never have known that. You read all these stories about people discovering talents in their later years. There's the artist David Cho. So he's known for, what is it? Well, I mean, he's an amazing street artist anyways, but I think he got on the news because he had done a mural at the Facebook office in the early days, and they paid him in shares, and then once it went public, he was like an instant millionaire. But regardless, he's still an artist and he's really amazing. But the whole thing with him is that his mother didn't know she could paint. And then she discovered painting, like, I don't know, over the last like 5 or 7 years. And now she's like this amazing painter, and you can go and look at her art. She didn't even know. She had no idea. But I guess moving into the more pertinent part of the show is the food section. So for everyone watching, this is the part of the show where we support local businesses by ordering takeout. In many cases, some artists don't have access to takeout. They'll choose to cook at home. And we kind of show that off too, just our Corona living. So Maya, I'm wondering, what did you order?
Okay, so I have a delicious vegan tantamen ramen and some nice gyoza from actually my friend's restaurant, Ramen Dayo. And Ramen Dayo was the first ramen restaurant in Scotland that my friend Paul opened after living in Japan for 10 years. And he moved back to Glasgow and couldn't get any decent ramen or anything Japanese. So he developed these recipes for like over 3 years or something. And now he's got this amazing restaurant and I'm constantly ordering stuff from it. So, yeah.
That's amazing. It looks really good. I already knew what you were going to order because you posted it online, but I'm always
Yeah.
like, yeah, ramen.
Yay, I love it.
And then Tychopod, did you get anything to eat?
I didn't.
You know what? It is completely okay. Some people are just like, I didn't get the memo. I was like, you know what? It's
I
good.
did right before, so I was like, but I unplugged my local. Like, there's a Haitian restaurant that's I guess cafe, that's like just a few blocks from me here in Crown Heights and on Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. And yeah, it's Black owned, so La Cool. I want to like plug that and give them all your money.
Yeah, you'll eat it eventually, and we'll like pretend that was now.
I always eat it. I ate it this morning, and I ate it. Like,
There you go.
I just started eating it live, in front of you.
I feel like when I have like Haitian or Caribbean or island food, I just tend to like buy it and then I'll eat it over the course of the entire day because they're always so massive. It's just like all these like it's like everything, just like slowly mowing away at it. Yeah, that tends to happen sometimes on this show, but it is okay. Usually it's cool because like when we're listening to music, then you can start like eating. It gives you something to do. Sometimes I find like in the early days, just like sit around and be like, what do I do?
Yeah. I'm cool. I like sitting.
Yeah, it's cool. You're chilling. Some people get really restless and they're like, I don't know what to do. So today, I got myself food too. Wait, hold on. Can't even pull out chopsticks. So I got Japanese food too, but I ordered from this place called Kazunori. So if y'all see that, it comes. And so usually it's a hand roll place. So you get like warm, nice hand rolls, and the seaweed's like really crunchy. But since they're doing COVID, they've been doing cut rolls. But it's cool. They have like little things. You guys can actually see what it looks like. So I'll be munching away at this, eating some of my sushi. Let's play the next song. So Maya, this is actually one of your tracks. It's called Power Plants.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, edamame. Yeah, Power Plants.
It's okay. Eating is totally okay on this program. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm like,
I love food.
So yeah, you released a song this year.
Yeah, it came out a couple of weeks ago as a part of Power Plants EP. But there's 4 other tracks and then it came out on Hot Flush.
Sick.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, really happy with it. There's a really kind of varied EP. I had quite a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
All right, so let's listen to that track right now, Power Plants by Nightwave. commenting that they would breakdance to this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see, there's a comment section. This is a question for the both of you. I guess when producing or making music, are you guys more software or hardware?
Just software now. I've become very lazy and I just use software now.
I've been switching it up. I've been using hardware a bit more now.
Are you using it to sequence, or are you using like hardware synths, drum machines?
Drum machines. Yeah.
Oh, which one are you on right now?
I
can talk about this stuff all day.
Same. I love the Digitac, and I got a MC 505 Roland.
Sick.
So it's two right now.
Yeah, I think that you know, it's weird. I always try to view female musicians as musicians. You know, they're not dictated by the fact that they're just a woman. You are a woman, but you're a musician at the end of the day, and people tend to have this like preconception that, you know, you don't really know what you're doing. Like people will be like, do they really know how to use the things that they have? And like I personally, that's kind of the sentiment that I feel. Might not be that for everyone, but you know, through the course over the past decade or so, I always felt the need to overly prove myself and be like, look at all this gear. Like I have a modular synth. You guys know how to use this, you know? You know, let me explain to you the idea of synthesis, or, you know, and it's this thing that you don't have to do if you're just a male musician, or people just accept you as a musician. You don't have to constantly prove yourself, you know? Yeah. And so I'm trying to do that less now, where it's like, okay, I gotta like make sure everyone knows that these are the things that I'm doing, because it's been made very clear over the years that like, yeah, I'm a producer. I don't even work with other producers, you know, often, because I'm constantly so affected by the stigma that people don't think I'm making my own music, which is a common thing that I have faced. Maybe Maya, you too. Mm-hmm. And people dictating your music based off of significant others or people that you've been with. And maybe for you, Tygapaw, it's different, but you know, I know for other female musicians, because you know, musicians can date other musicians, but then once you date a male musician, suddenly everyone just assumes that everything you do is because of them, when it's very much not that case. And if anything, it's a sharing of ideas, which can happen when there's like a male musician with another male musician working together, and they teach each other things all the time. But that's one of the things that I felt like I've dealt with in the past, but now I'm just like, fuck y'all. Like this is the music that I make and this is how I do it, and you guys can believe I do or don't, but I'm pretty sure that at this point you guys should know that I'm doing that.
I've stopped dating musicians. That's also helped.
Oh yeah, I feel that. I mean, Tygapaw, for you, since you're really active in like the Black queer community, do you ever feel like it's a really strong part of your identity, right? Because you're using your music to help create progress within that community. Do you ever feel like it's harming you in any way, or you feel like people are judging you because you're like a queer person of color, that they look at your music as maybe a gimmick, or
well, I mean, I don't really care. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, you don't have to care about it, but have you ever felt that? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's I try, like, I don't like. It's like I'm not trying to appeal for, like, you know, people who can't think beyond what's presented to them as like whatever is good. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the music I love and what I make is like it's I think maybe subliminally or subconsciously I might make aggressive music to pull away, you know, to dispel any sort of like, oh, it's too froofy or fluffy or like whatever people think. Like they think Lady Gaga is very gay, and I was just like, yeah, Lady Gaga is like pop and gay, like, you know, like sparkly shit, you know. And I'm just like, if you
want to show the other side of the spectrum,
which is like the underground is like there's so much diversity. You know, there's just like that people are not necessarily exposed to, and I think that's what makes it fun. I find that like when it might be limited thing when it was like in the 90s and when when it's not this millennial like but like I think now there's a lot more space to experiment. There's a lot more space. Like I can say cunt on a track and like it's back, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still good. It's like even if you think it's queer or gay, I mean, there's so much music that, you know, like you can really like there's no I don't know about like a stigma towards queerness. Like there is obviously because there's like just xenophobia, homophobia.
Yeah,
but
everyone has a phobia of everything.
Everybody has a phobia. So I'm just like I'm just not for you then, you know, and just know that there's like a huge world. Like once you realize, like once you've gone out into the world and played globally, then you don't really stress that stuff anymore. You know, like I'll be here in America and I'm just like, like it's very tough to play here, like, you know, in certain spaces, and then I'll go to Europe or I'll go to Australia, I'll go to China and Asia. And then it like Asia was so fun because they're like all about that, the energy of the music. They don't really care whether it's gendered or whatever. They don't care about the politics of it. It's just music. It's just good music to them.
100%. Yeah, music should just be for everyone. It's not like, oh, you can't listen to this because you're not something. At the end of the day, it's like, music is this a wonderful, amazing, universal language that we have that transcends all things, because you're something that we're hearing. You can't judge someone on a sound. I mean, I guess you can judge people on sounds. So Maya, for you, you know, in Glasgow, I know that there's, you know, clubbing culture is so significant, and I mean, I wonder if you can tell me a little bit about why Glasgow is such a special city in that way for their kind of like clubbing. 'Cause it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. So I've lived here for, how long has it been? About 8 years now, but I've been kind of, coming here for over 10 years now. And even when I still lived in Slovenia, I knew about Glasgow, and it's just so famous around the world. I guess now that I live here, the weather is really, really, really bad. So I think people don't have much else to do apart from go to clubs or stay indoors and make music, or, you know, a lot of people like to go to a pub. So it's just a part of everyone's life. And now during this fucking pandemic and stuff, it's been really difficult because, sorry for swearing, sorry.
Oh, you can,
that's another Glasgow thing. We just kind of, you know, swearing is just very normal. So it's been really difficult because for people here, that's such a big thing, you know, going out, and it's a form of therapy for people. Like it's like that anyway, but I think here we all really, really miss it. And everyone I know is somehow in some way related to music. They either produce or DJ, or they have a radio show, or there's just so much going on. It's a great, great town, and there's so much more diversity now, and so many women active on the scene. And also, it used to be very much techno and house, and now it's all sorts of different genres and people really experimenting. And I guess that's how it was when I first learned about Glasgow. So like with, you know, like Hubmo and Rusty, and when these people were coming out of here, it was just like, what the hell is this music? It was just so unique, and Glasgow still has that, I think.
Yeah. This, you know, those guys in particular, they really had a very lasting impact in a lot of like modern day music.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Especially the stuff in EDM. It's just like a lot of that came from people
Absolutely
listening to those guys before, listening to like someone like a Flying Lotus too. It's had a really lasting impact. And it's cool to see, because you can be in the back being like, oh, everyone here, they're kind of doing the thing that they were doing, but making it more rave, or like American rave. That being said, I want to play our next song. So this is Inner City Life, Goalie. Is this, Taika, did you pick this? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So tell me a little bit about the song. I don't think I had heard it before, but it's sick. It has like an amazing break in it, and I just want to hear your take on this song.
Yeah. So I'm working on a album or my full length, my first full length album, and this is one of the like inspiration, like reference tracks, like because I'm just like getting in a path of like discovering like some subgenres that I really love within electronic music, and jungle is like one of them, and you know, it's like reconnect. Like I've never been to like the UK, and just like that bridge, that gap between finding out about jungle, and that's like, you know, like the Jamaicans within the UK and their influence in that electronic genre, and like, you know, like Jamaica's back home, like where I grew up. It's just like it's just really cool to know, like wherever we go, and like, you know, we just our influence, our impact is so broad. So yeah, I find that like the connection there is like really strong, and that this track is what they say in Jamaica, sell off. This is really good. So yeah, I wanted to share that. Like, yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, I love a good almond break. It's cool too, this cross-pollination of just culture taking its place like here and there, and how everything is reinterpreted. And you can kind of hear, like when you hear the song, can you hear it? Can you hear that?
Yeah, for sure. There's no like this, the vocalist is just absolutely, the vocals are stunning. Yeah, the breaks, just like everything is very complementary to itself. Like, you know, everything that's we can borrow from each, you know, like genres, but like, you know, the crossing of cultures and influences, it's just like it's like a nice blend together.
All right, cool. Let's hear Inner City Life by Goli. For anyone watching and listening right now, this song was actually in Trainspotting, which I think Trainspotting, that took place in Scotland? No, wait.
It's set in Scotland. Yeah.
Yes. Did you know that they're doing a sequel? Did you guys hear that?
It's out already. It came out
a
few years ago.
Oh, wait. Okay. Oops. Is it good?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was very gnarly, just like the first one.
I guess there's something to watch now during quarantine. I remember reading that. I guess I'm a little behind.
Same.
But in any case, though, you know, the song came out in 1994, so it's many, many, many years old now. And it's kind of crazy to think how, you know, obviously modern music is still a little different than this, but you can still hear a lot of the influence. I'm always like waiting for jungle to come back, but I don't know if jungle was ever like In the States, it never.
I don't
got
think
very
it
big.
never. I don't think it ever went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe for you guys in the States is different. For us here, it's like still. I don't think it ever went away, especially in London and like up north. There's not so much jungle in Scotland. I really miss that about not living in London anymore. Actually, the jungle nights very, very wild.
Yeah, because I feel like the UK is there. You got everyone in the UK, artists from there. They're really good at creating new subgenres of electronic music. They might not last forever, like when UK funky was a thing. You know, I mean, I guess it's still around, but you know, now there's like GOM and there's oh crap, what's the other one that's really big? The rap one?
Drill? No.
Drill. Yeah, drill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because you know, there's like UK drill, and then there's a drill coming out of Brooklyn, and there's I think a lot of the rappers here are working with producers in the UK. What's the name? 808 something. Anyways, you know, and it's interesting to see how things kind of like merge and blend and modernize. But here, jungle never got really big, you know. But it's a big country, so there's still a lot of the number of people who like jungle. It's the numbers are there, but I don't know. It's just there's something about it that didn't pop off as much for other people. But I love jungle. Machine Drum had that great project Vapor Cities that was out. I mean, that's been out for ages. Also, maybe around like 9 or 8 years ago. But he's always someone that's always doing it.
What's his name? Chrissy Murderbot. He's done loads of jungle stuff as well. From Chicago. Yeah.
So then, Tiger Paw, you gotta work some of these almond breaks into your music?
Oh, I have.
Oh, yeah.
It will. Yeah. There's some influence there. Yeah, that's why I picked it. And the album that's coming out in November.
Oh, that's really soon. So is it done?
Wow.
Yeah, it's done. It's being mastered. I'm just like, yeah, I'm sweating bullets. So like, yeah, I've been working on that the whole summer.
How many tracks does it have on it?
11.
11 full length. Do you have a title?
You
don't have to share it yet if you don't want to, but
working title. But yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for the both of you, but when I work on, let's say I work on a song and I have to save it really quick, I give it the worst names.
Yeah, the same horrendous names.
I'll call it like Sweaty Balls
Shocking.
or something like that. They're just, you know.
Yeah, I'll sit a long time trying to think of something, and then it's just like, okay, I give up, and then like
Sometimes it's just like drum beat number 1, or it could just be like stinky socks, it's gym socks, whatever it may be, and then like you know maybe later. Sometimes on the spot you can come up with a good name, but sometimes later you have to like, okay, I can't put Stinky Gym Socks on my album. I should probably change it, or you keep it, you know. But it's a pretty amazing process. Maya, do you have any good song titles?
I don't. Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I kind of recently I've been a bit more consistent with my track names, because my inspiration has kind of changed and everything. But I'm the same when I save projects in Ableton. It's just the worst, just randomest, weirdest stuff. So, and that's why I often, because I have so many unfinished projects, then I don't remember what the one was I was working on. Then I have to go through all the other ones, and then just to find the smelly gym socks, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm going through all of them.
Yeah.
So,
then you have to go through like Rotten Garbage, and then Sunshine Lollipops, and then you have to go through all of them just to find your dirty gym socks. Going on a tangent. I'm gonna play this next song, and I love it. So you know, Zora Jones, she's amazing, visual artist, also a musician and producer. I went through and listened to her album. I thought it was amazing.
It's so good, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
really good.
great, and there's this like wonderful kind of like bubbly nature to her music. And I mean, I've known her, or like, yeah, she still probably lives in like Barcelona, or maybe, I'm not sure, but I've always been kind of catching up with her and what she's been up to. And so yeah, I really enjoy this. I've been listening to it a lot, and this track in particular I was listening to. It's got a little bit of a trap vibe, right, this one?
Yeah, or kind of grimy as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. This song bangs. So I know the both of you've both released music during quarantine. I've also released an album during this time. What are your thoughts about that? Were you guys apprehensive? Like, oh, should I release music right now? Will people really want to listen? Or do you just not care? You're like, well, I'm going to put the music out there anyways.
Yeah, I think for me it was almost liberating because I always attach so much to releases in terms of live shows and how it's going to translate to live gigs, blah, blah, blah. And this was just like, wow, no one's fucking going to play anytime soon. So I can just put out anything. And it kind of worked out well for me. So I actually added stuff on this last EP that maybe I wouldn't normally, because it was it was like 140 and a little bit, something was almost like one track's almost dubsteppy. So I just thought, well, I can be free now and release what I want, because for me, I mainly play like techno, acid, that kind of stuff. So normally my releases are similar to what I play, just to not really confuse the promoters, which is sad, but that's kind of how it's evolved, because most of our income comes from live shows now. So I really always feel like I have to release stuff that's going to be very club friendly. So yeah, I quite enjoy it.
Nice.
I enjoy the quarantine.
I know some people are just cut out for it. They're like, don't go out for 2 weeks. I've already been doing that.
I know, we're producers. We do that all the time.
I know. It's just like, what's the best thing about being outside? Going back inside? No, I'm just kidding. Tycho Paul, what about you? What are your thoughts about, releasing music during quarantine?
I think when I did it, it was with a lot of like urgency towards the current,
That's right.
political unrest, and just like my call and response in terms of that. So it was also the pressure of I think like the Bandcamp Fridays things that
That's right.
was kind of happening, and I liked to that. I have a flexibility. I have much more flexibility as being independent and not having like any major team or anything, so I could just kind of do what I want anyways. But like it felt good. I felt like a good release to put an important project. It wasn't just like, oh, this is just like club, like another club EP. It's with a lot of like intention.
Exactly. It's interesting because both the releases you guys put out, it was a few months into quarantine, right? It wasn't like, like after. Okay. I noticed. So I've been doing the show for, I don't know, like, sorry, I like burp. Sorry. How unpleasant is that? Thanks to my sponsors. But I mean, this is great. Sorry, by the way. Anyways, the main thing is that I have noticed after doing the show for about 30 weeks, I don't know, someone can probably correct me, how the attitude has changed. Because in the early part of quarantine, I released my full-length album on March 23rd. That was like right when the quarantine hit, and I couldn't change the date for that. And a lot of it was a lot more unsure. And so I was a little, disappointed. I released it, not even canceling my tour yet. It was at that point where we didn't know how it would be short term. And every artist I interviewed during the early days of the show, they're really concerned. They're like, well, does anyone want to listen to club music right now? Like, why should I be putting out my singles? I'm worried. Like, what do you think that we should do? And a lot of artists were asking these types of questions because they're like, oh, I can't tour a dance album. What am I going to do? And at that time, the only advice I could give is like, you should just put out music that you want to put out. That's because you can't go to the club doesn't mean people only listen to that kind of music in the club. And now the time's progressed and everyone's really used to this whole environment, I find that artists are just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm putting out everything, especially more club-oriented producers. They're like, well, yeah, like you, Maya, you get to put out something that usually you may not, because you don't want to confuse your audience. You have the freedom to do so. And I think moving forward then, do you guys, have either of you done any like live stream DJ sets, anything like that?
Yeah.
The pouty face.
Yeah.
standard at this point, you know.
So, in both of your opinions, you see this extending into when, like, the pandemic may not like be over technically, but once we are able to go out and go to the club and go to festivals again, do you think that the streaming will persist? Or will you guys still be streaming? Will you guys still be like, well, yeah, sure, I'll still do it.
I'm going to be in a club every day and all day, forever.
I miss
once
a good
I'm
rave.
back.
I know.
Yeah.
This is a good rave.
Yeah.
Just want to sit in the back with my drink in the dark corner. I'm just sitting in the dark corner, or by the speakers going deaf. You know, it's an interesting thing. So for you then, Maya, you're just like, nah, I'm just gonna go back into the fucking club.
I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of streaming and cameras and all this. I just prefer to be in a dark club where, you know, I can just be myself. I'm not really a fan of this, but you know, I'm doing it, and I have enjoyed the streams, but it's not the same for me. Just the less internet, the better, honestly.
You know what? I'm gonna like shout out to some of these trolls, because I'm just watching this person or whatever, like, or the curiosity of me, you know, I like my gender or whatever. Yeah, and you don't have to deal with that in real life. Like in the club, you just can be behind you have the protection of the DJ booth. You have like that separation, and then you know, like if somebody's like not being cool or whatever, they can get escorted out of the space. But yeah, that room is like, it's just like, oh, do I have to listen to or see your comments? But I mean, but I also like with the streaming, I feel on the accessibility end of it, it's important. You know, like it's reach. It's like the benefit of it now is just like we can reach a lot of people who we didn't, you know, who aren't able to physically be in a club space. And so I think it's beneficial. I think it should continue. So accessibility wise, you know, everyone can experience and enjoy our DJ sets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me initially, I was kind of more in line with Maya, where I was like, you know, I feel like not that it's beneath me. I didn't. This whole thing, doing this show, is not where I ever saw myself. If you told me like a week before we started this show that I was going to be doing a show like this, I would have said no fucking way. You know, even when I was asked to do this show, I said maybe until they're like, okay, it's tomorrow, you're doing it. You said yes, right? And I was like, I said maybe. And then now here I am, like 29 weeks later on this program. It's not, I'm usually the kind of person that prefers not to be too overexposed. With all my shows, I was like, I never really liked people posting them on YouTube. I want people to experience things in person. And so I almost felt like it was taking an L to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this show. I'm going to do these festival streams. And it was really humbling. It turns out it was an amazing thing. People were so grateful to be able to see and connect with me because all my tours were canceled. And it actually helped, weirdly enough. Like all the engagements for me went up, and more people know about me now than they did pre-quarantine, which is wild, you know? And for me, personally, I really want to go play shows in real life, and it's like this weird like sense of duty I have to people who can't see me. It's not their fault either, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do these shows for you because I love y'all, and then hopefully I'll see you soon afterwards, you know, to set people up to remember what it is to see an artist live. But yeah, you know, it was really hard for me to accept that this was the fate, my interim fate before the next thing. And actually, so right now you guys you're dealing with some trolls in the chat, which is, it's gonna happen. Maya, what's your experience with internet trolls? Are you one?
Yeah, they exist, and they made my life hell for a little bit, but not anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really like talking about it because I don't even want to talk about them because they're just so insignificant. But I think it's become a little bit a bit better, and people don't feel so free to. I mean, I don't know what's going on now. Someone might be trolling me right now. I can't see, but
there's always someone trolling. For every moment in the day, for every breath you take, there's one troll saying something trolly about you. It's just
I think for me it's been a good experience. It's been like a good spiritual practice to deal with this stuff and to just to practice, you know, non-reaction and all these other things. But yeah, it's not nice. It's never nice to have a troll, but sometimes they're funny, you know. Whatever. I
find them easier to deal with when they're really blatant. They're like, "You're just an ugly whore." I'm like, "Well, I think I look okay." Like those ones are not that bad to me, but when people start things that are more personalized, like what was something that used to bother me, like you're an untalented hack or something. I don't know, something that's a bit more like gets me in a very specific place, and I used to just rage on the internet. But I'm trying to not do that. Mm-hmm. It's a hard lesson. It is really not practicing. Not reacting is a very hard practice.
Yeah.
I think universally, I guess the more confident you become in yourself, the easier kind of it is, and also just not trying not to like read it. I think I guess, you know, maybe over there, but definitely over here, you know, political opinions are more clear. I guess, you know, you're learning a lot about your friends that you didn't know before, like. Oh, they believe in conspiracy theories and, you know, like QAnon and like some like stuff you're like, you know, I don't knock anyone for having their beliefs and what they believe in, but you learn a lot about people, and even artists themselves, they're showing more about what they believe in than they did before. And I'm finding for me that if I state anything that's kind of relevant to the current situation, like whether I say, I dedicate a post to Black Lives Matters, or if I do a post saying how important it is to have healthcare that accepts pre-existing conditions, that like all your fans are just like, fuck you, I don't want to hear your political opinion. And I'm like, just don't look at it then, you know? So how have you guys been dealing with, I guess, sharing your opinions, and how are you guys reacting? Do you tend to fight back with people? Are you learning not to? Do you not share opinions anymore? I'll start with you, Maya.
I try and not engage too much. I've not really had anything bad happen kind of in the last year or so, but yeah, I think it's a privilege to have any kind of platform. So I do try and you know, get involved and share stuff that I believe is right. And I speak a lot about wellness now. I speak a lot about you know, things like plant medicines and things that are a little bit out there, but you know, I think it's important to share that. And I've been quite lucky recently, not too many trolls. Yeah,
it's good when there's less, but yeah, I'm always just so surprised at how easily it can ruin your like entire day. Even yesterday, I was just talking to someone, I'm like, I fucking hate the internet. But I love the internet. This is the thing. I fucking love the internet. But the people on the internet are just so foul sometimes, you know? But I'm happy for you. I think at the end of the day, everyone I know from certain areas has all become a hippie now, including myself. I go to Burning Man. I'm like full on, you know? But Tiger Paw, like what about you? Like what is the response been to you being vocal about your political beliefs and the stances that you have? I imagine a lot of people who follow you are already aligned with you, but if you have, like, what happens when someone comes in and they're like, no, that's not going to fix anything, or, you know, all lives matter, or just, I don't know, like, you can't reform the police or whatever. Like, what do you say? Or do you not respond? Because that's also, non-response is a response.
Yeah, my non-response is a response. Like, conservation of energy as a Black person is very vital. Like, it's like, you gotta pick those battles, and like, and sometimes dealing with ignorant people is just something that Jamaicans are not very well equipped to do. So I'd rather leave it at, like we're not gonna go down that road with someone, but I'm fortunate enough right now, like at this point, is to like be vocal, be just present like information and perspective of what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes, and let's try to find some some sort of way, like to spread just like more love and like emanate that kind of like energy, because I feel like there's people just operate on so like living in New York, you get faced with a lot of attitudes basically, so you learn to
New York City of attitudes. Yes.
New York City it's like, but I love it. It doesn't, so I'm just, if somebody just like yells at you or curses at you, sometimes I'm a like talk back, sort of situation, like what did you say? What did you say to me? It's like, I'm walking here, like, that kind of attitude. But yeah, when it's online, it's just like it's feels like that's like empty air.
Yeah.
Just like hot air, going getting at you. And it's just like, well, I need to step further so I don't feel that shit, because I don't want to like engage.
One of my very good friends, he's like he's kind of like a therapist, spiritual leader, but he's also Jamaican, and he's always telling me how similar Jamaican and Korean people are. And I was like, because he'll like, to my other friends also Korean, and he like talks to us a lot, and he's just like, yeah, it's very fiery. And I was like, yeah. I got yelled out. I got yelled at by a delivery guy yesterday who was Korean, also coincidentally, and so then we were just yelling at each other while he was trying to deliver me like a salad or something like that. And I'm like, I'm in like a very not Korean neighborhood in LA right now. He's just like, why couldn't you put the instructions down where the front of your house is? And I was like, I wrote it down. You're supposed to look at it. And then I gave him a 1-star review because I was so mad. But, yeah. Don't be like me. Practice more non-reaction like Maya. Which actually I want to talk about this. So Matt, you're a part of something called the Love Amazonia Project, and you released a compilation, and it's about in support of the rainforest. I'd love to hear more about that, because that's a topic that's super important to me too.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I started Love Amazonia just again, well, going back to Bandcamp Friday, just made sense. I've been involved working with indigenous tribes in Brazil for the last year, especially the Hunikuin tribe and the Yawanawa, and it's just really, really important to me. And I've been doing a bit of fundraising and ceremonies and things like that, and sharing their artwork. But I thought, wow, okay, well, I know how to put out music. Why am I not putting out a compilation? So we just kind of whipped it up together, almost, I think it was like in 2 weeks. And I got some great people on board, and we raised so much money. And just today I was on the phone to the people in Brazil, and to hear what the money's actually done, it's just really, really nice. So I'm going to keep it going, and we're going to, do more compilations and artwork. And a part of the work that we've done is that we provide artwork and beads for the women in the community, and then they make crafts, and then they can sell them fair trade. So I'm going to probably add a shop to this project, so where people can buy this. But they just really, really need our support, because Brazil is really a messed up place at the moment, as you probably know. They've got a horrendous fascist in power, so it's really not good. But, yeah, I think they're good friends, not surprised. So yeah, it's just really nice to be able to do something good with music, because sometimes I feel the music I make and club music or whatever, it's a very hedonistic, but it's nice to do a project like that where you can make a difference.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's amazing to see like what your impact can do. And a lot of people right now, I think that I've talked about this in the past, but people don't want to vote, they feel like they have no impact, but it's like even the small things you do will have an impact. So if you're doing a fundraiser and it helps like 10 families, that's not 10,000, but you still made a significant impact on on those 10 families. So the smallest efforts can make such a big, significant difference in someone else's life. Someone that's less privileged than you. And it's a privilege to be able to have the power to impact people's lives. That being said, I want to play this next song, because we haven't played any of Tyga Paw's music yet. So Bag Juice. Let's wait. We haven't played this yet. So I would like to talk about it. Wait, hold on. Let's see. So I actually heard this song before, and it's amazing. I want to know what your influences are for this particular track, because it seems like the breadth of your music is very wide, and I've listened to quite a lot of your music, and yeah, I'm just really curious because you do have like a very significant kind of like, there's a heavy like electronic component to everything that you make.
Yeah, I think what I'm kind of like getting into is deeper into like electronic music because of growing up in Jamaica. There's just tons of limitation on like what you're exposed to, and I feel like when I came to New York, that's when things kind of like really opened up and I got exposed to a whole lot more. So I think it's like that evolution of a musician's ear, like just like being exposed to new things and diving deeper into something that I've like discovered earlier, but not in depth, like whatever you're exposed to is whatever MTV is gonna like be playing, and that's the sign of electronic music which was good in back then, like MTV2 did like have Portishead and Bjork, and
I love Bjork, bless her heart. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, just like things that that were blew my mind at that time, like coming from a little island that mostly you hear is just like dancehall or pop music, but it's just like being on this like journey of discovery. It's musically is kind of like what's happening with me, and so like my beginnings of what I was exposed to with club music in New York and Jersey club and Baltimore club, and that's like reflective of the first EP, and then going into this more rave influenced acid and techno, and like once I kind of like discovered Detroit techno and the and like Black people pioneering techno, then it was like, oh, game over. It's like, oh, this is our shit, like we're a part of this. It's just like there's this whole gap of like just like reclaiming this space for us. So yeah, that's kind of like where my journey is, and I'm continuing. I'm still in that process.
Oh yeah, we're always on a journey. We're not at the end yet. Okay, so let's listen to Bag Juice. I would like to be at a club right now.
Yeah, this is, I would call Phil Beast Mode club.
I want to be in like a dark club, like a dark, like musty club, that's like underground.
Yeah.
I miss a good smelly club. At this point. Yeah, it really takes
Amazing.
you away. I was like looking at the waveform. I'm like, it's about to come. I can see something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, wait, what's gonna
The
happen next?
glory of DJing. I think that's just, yeah. Also, the influences are like what I do in the club is very much like the energy of my DJ sets.
That's some energy. Real energy.
You sweat. I'm when I'm DJ, I'm sweating, and like
dude,
I want people to be sweating on the floor. Yeah, like when I'm performing.
Yeah, this is like sweaty, stinky underground club,
Yeah.
having the best time of your life kind of vibe. I miss it. I miss it all. I miss even going. I would just go to someone's quinceañera. I would just go to anything. I miss going to something, you know.
Yeah.
I actually want to ask you. So you're a part of a campaign for, what is it? The John Edmonds Durag campaign for Telfar Clemens. I want to tell me more about that.
Oh,
Like what's the significance of that, of the campaign, and even the idea, like the durag as an item of clothing?
It's black hair. You know, it's like it's black hair care. Like that's what a durag is. The purpose of a durag. And if you ever go into a black beauty supply store, there's a whole section dedicated to like how we're going to protect our hair, like when we sleep. And there's this thing. There's also like this connotation around durags being a very like aggressive or hood or gang related item because of the like colors that you can wear, and it's like, but ultimately, and then also the kind of like the ghetto context that's put around it, you know, like where if you were like just all the over critiquing of like how we present ourselves as Black people, like it's just it's just exhausting. Like it's like the comments like that is always like a very exhausting thing to me. And I realized like even subconsciously I used to wear, like in the film I have dreadlocks, and there's, I mean, I don't want to get into detailing of like the profiling that I faced, you know, when I travel a lot, and like touring was like really tedious and hard when it came to like when I had to be in airports and like presenting my Jamaican passport and like the instant profiling that you receive because you have dreadlocks. You know, it was just like, you know, and the searching of, it's just these things where I realized it's like that campaign is so powerful. It's just like, okay, we're like occupying the space that like culturally belongs to us, you know. It's just like, and there's nothing wrong with like the way we wear our hair, what we use to protect our hair. Like there's just there's a lot of pride. It's like a lot of like pride and Black joy in this campaign that I'm really like proud to be a part of, you know, and I think John treating it just like very major. So.
Yeah, it's such it's a very specific topic, you know. Like I mean, even, you know, there's this Lunch song also. It's just like "Don't Touch My Hair," and it's these issues that exist, I think, within the Black community that the other people like don't realize. They're like, oh, can I? So Gavin, the artist I was telling you about before, where her mom thought I might kidnap her. So she has beautiful, beautiful big hair, and you know she gets a lot of compliments on it. You know, it's just like beautiful Diana Ross, like huge, and you know people compliment her on her hair. Like, you know, people say like, oh, nice hair, Maya, nice hair, Toki, or whatever. But the thing I would see very often with her is people being like, can I touch your hair? And she would just, she's so nice, but she would be like, no. You know?
Yeah.
And the significance of that, like, why is it okay to touch someone's hair, to ask, you know?
I've had those experiences in South Africa. Like they warned me when I was in Cape Town that like, yeah, like there's a sense of like we don't have agency over our bodies, you know, from like the colonizer standpoint, you know, and how they own the ownership of us, like during slavery. So I feel like all of those things kind of like translate and have been brought into the current times, you know, like how that kind of behavior, like we're policed, we're like constant, our bodies, our hair, like the way we dress, or it's constantly policed. But then once it's another race or ethnicity wears something that's like very culturally influential to us, this is where but they don't get profiled. There's nothing that like is taken away from them in how they present and how they're like carrying that style, that particular style that is like connected to our culture. So those are those, like when we critique or when we're really like, this is not okay for you to appropriate in this way because it's dangerous in a way. It's just like these things that we're saying. It's just like it's not. These are not equal parts. So I know it's like a very touchy subject with some people, and
it's important.
I do
need to know the touchy things
to understand what the context of it, like where we come from, where does the frustration in this kind of like conversation, why Black people are so like frustrated.
It's like 200 plus years of slavery, so there's this concept called the model minority. So there's this concept that like Asian people are called the model minority because they've immigrated to this country and they've done well. And what it is they use us as minorities and they pit us against other people of color to just be like, well, why can't you be like them? They're doing well, and that's so that is a form of systemic racism too, because we aren't like, even if you have a certain level of success in this country, there's still tons of like hate crimes and racism, especially right now during coronavirus. And it's like, you can't be like, why can't you be more like them, as if we are equal, but we're still lesser than them too, so it's like it's a really complicated thing where they create systems where then they create a divide between other minority groups as well, like racism isn't explicitly between like Black, like all people of color and white people. It's between each other as well,
absolutely.
And it really shouldn't be that, because everyone is here struggling or dealing with these kind of difficulties because they're not fully accepted in this country, but I'm like super optimistic. I think all these things will change, and right now is a good time for that. Before we listen, so Maya, I'm actually going to play your song last because I want to talk about this first because it's something really interesting to me. You were talking about helping the people in Amazon, and now you're diving into the world of shamanism and spirituality. And I guess I didn't realize that you had gone in that way. And I was thinking of asking you about, you said, ceremonies, and I'm around a lot of people that do ayahuasca. I think it's really medicinal and helps a lot of people. I haven't done it yet, but it's not something that's off the table for me. And I've seen the way that it's helped heal people with addiction, with lifelong issues with like parents or like whatever qualms that they're going through. I want to ask you like how you got into this world, because it's so different than how I knew you at one point.
I've always had that side of me, and I've had various spiritual practices since I was a teenager, I guess, and experiences with other plant medicines. But then maybe about 3 years ago, so I started really working on my healing because I burnt out a lot through touring and just had various, life, just shit happens. And I had the choice to either take control and get better and do whatever it takes. And a part of that was to really dedicate myself to certain Buddhist practices, and ayahuasca played a big part in that. And now I am very into it, and I'll tell everyone all about it that will give me 5 minutes to talk about it. I never tell people they should go and do it, but I think if it's calling you, then you should do it. Maybe you should explore it. I can just lead by example and show how good it's been for me. And I'm just really interested. I'm just studying different types of approach to ceremony. So, the indigenous people in the Amazon and their tradition, and the Quechua shamans in Peru and the Andes. And I'm just a bit obsessed with it.
No, it's, I mean, it's from kind of like entering this world of, spirituality and wellness too, that, it's not like a drug, it's medicine, that's what everyone refers to it as, is medicine, and they actually decriminalized psychedelics in
Ann Arbor. Most
And
recently,
Ann Arbor, I think in San Jose and in Colorado, or maybe
Yeah.
Colorado was just mushrooms.
yeah, I think they were first ones. Yeah, with psilocybin. I
Yeah.
think last year. Yeah,
Yeah, I love mushrooms.
yeah.
I'm not saying which ones, you know, but anyways, yeah. So it's cool to see that, and you know, a lot of musicians I know have gone in that way too. Actually, talking about Machine Drum also has gone. I mean, not as far as shamanism, but he's very much like in tune with the sense of spirituality and just like your
Frequencies and stuff.
yeah, your personal health and wealth, and I think that like there's something for everyone. So I don't push anything myself either on people, but I love hearing people's experiences, and I'm around a bunch of different types of people, and I find educating yourself on just the way that people live their lives is the most enriching way to live your own life, you know. So yeah, it's cool, super cool to hear that you're into all this. Let's actually listen to one of your songs and then we'll sign off. So this song is your track Unconditional. And yeah, I'd like to hear. So this is also on Power Plants, and you released this year. Anything you want to say about it before I play it? You don't have to.
No, I wrote it specifically for a person that means a lot to me. So it's a very important song for me.
If I had a song, it would be dedicated to my cat. Say shout out to the chat. I see y'all staying positive. Can't wait to be back in the club with all y'all again. Yeah, the song is very much in your feels. I guess while we have a little bit of time left, how's it been? I guess this is kind of personal, but it can be as fun as you want it to be. How do you feel like it's been for you having personal relationships or like interpersonal relationships, dating, things like that as a musician? I know it's a, but like for you being the musician, you know, not dating a musician. Do you think it's better or worse? Because I find that it can be kind of difficult. Not everyone's okay with dating a DJ or producer or whatever. Especially because it can be emasculating. Because I've been in that situation, you know, where like the people I've been have felt, without saying so, felt emasculated by being with me and seeing, you know, what level of success that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of feels.
I guess my problem is you know, who wants to date you because you're a DJ? Like that's the problem I have. But I guess like
Like, it's not like they're like, oh, I don't want to date a DJ like that.
no, like you're, you know, a hot topic.
Oh, like status grabbing, like they're only dating you because you're a DJ.
You know, like social, like within New York, I guess. I've been here too long, but like, well, no, I find that it's hard because of like how much you have to travel and be away from, you know, the person you're dating. But like, yeah, I don't know. It does. I don't necessarily have a seat. I guess it's just a different world that I like occupy.
There's some free spirits out there too. You don't gotta lock yourself down to any one person, depending on what you're into. You know.
I know. I do have. I am seeing someone, and I care about her deeply. So
okay, so committed. It's all good. Yeah, I will say, like, from traveling, if they're not used to it, like one of my like past boyfriends like totally cheated on me while I was on tour. Super shady, but that was many years ago, and it just makes you more aware of the level of trust you have to be with someone when they're doing that. Or like, usually you don't trust the person who's leaving, not the person who's staying, but I guess it goes both ways. Because I know actually a lot of DJs or musicians that have been cheated on when they're on tour. I think the irony, kind of, because people always expect it to be the other person.
True.
Yeah.
I want to say, Nightwave, that song is fire. Just saying.
Oh, thank you.
So good.
Yeah.
Do you guys? So you have Tyga Paul. You have your album coming in November. So we'll look forward to that.
First
Maya, Nightwave. Anything coming from you?
I've just released all this stuff, but I'm sure there'll be more soon. I'm sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just like, it was just released. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing more amazing music from the both of you, and you know, hearing your compilation. You know, I'd love to hear it. You know, any way that I can help to. Like I stopped eating beef, and the whole reason was because of the impact that farming beef, like cattle farming, was having in the Amazon. So I don't eat beef anymore. So there's a little bit of that. So I want to thank everyone who tuned in watching. Thank you very much to Flying Embers, who has been sponsoring the show. I must say that I was drinking it before they became a sponsor, so I'm like really happy because I'm basically just getting drunk while I'm doing my show. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not drunk. I'm completely okay. But that being said, thank you both, Nightwave, Tyga Paul, everyone who's tuning in. Please tune in next week. We have Nina Dios and Ulysses joining me right here on Lost Resort. Bye. Thank you. Again.